Now on Radio 4, time for Front Row with Kirsty Lang.
Hello, tonight is a Christmas treat. We have two national treasures who are both returning to the stage after a long absence.
That a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, the medicine go down, medicine go down. Just a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down in a most delightful way.
Julie Andrews is Mary Poppins, and if that didn't put a smile on your face, how about this?
I wish to make a complaint.
Sorry, we're closing for lunch.
Never mind that, my lad. I wish to complain about this parrot what I purchased not half an hour ago from this very boutique.
Oh, yes, the Norwegian blue. What's wrong with it?
I'll tell you what's wrong with it. It's dead. That's what's wrong with it.
Michael Palin there in the Dead Parrot sketch with John Cleese, which Palin promises will feature in the Monty Python reunion next year. But we begin with Julie Andrews, who's going to be doing a series of stage shows around the UK in the spring. She'll be speaking, not singing. Sadly, she hasn't been able to do that since an operation on her throat some years ago, which went wrong. Her UK tour will coincide with the 50th anniversary of the release of Mary Poppins, and she's promised to share some of the backstage gossip from her career. Entitled An Evening with Julie Andrews, there'll be clips from her most famous films and rarely seen footage of her as a child star performing with her mother and stepfather, and, as she explained to me, some audience participation.
Towards the end of the second half of the evening, I open it up for questions and answers with the audience, so that's actually the part I rather like the best.
What's the most surprising thing you've ever been asked?
I'm laughing because it was a surprise. Somebody asked me if I knew at the time where Bin Laden was hiding, just as a joke. And I said, well, I think he's in the chorus of Kismet, which is touring in Poughkeepsie right now. And that's all I could think of to say. But that was rather a surprise, I can tell you.
You said there was some family footage. You wrote a few years ago in your memoir about growing up in a showbiz family. You performed from a very early age with your mother and stepfather.
You know, my background was vaudeville and music hall and travelling all over England time and time again with my parents, without my parents. And I had this kind of freak 4-octave voice that was my gimmick at the time. It was a genuine one, but that's what got me by. And I would sing all these operatic arias and some ballads and so on. But I wondered those teenage years when I toured and toured, what was the point? Where was it leading? And of course, in years to come, I was hugely grateful that I'd had that background, because I didn't realize it at the time, but I was learning so much about my craft.
Getting cast in My Fair Lady on Broadway was your big break, wasn't it? And I imagine you'll be talking about that, because I know it was a fraught time. Rex Harrison was in it. He was a huge star at the time. He couldn't sing, and you'd never acted before, so...
Yes, I think we could... It's probably correct to say that we were both rather nervous about all of that.
The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain.
The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain.
Again.
The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain.
I think she's got it. I think she's got it.
But wasn't Rex Harrison rather horrible to you?
Yes, at first. We grew, actually, believe it or not, to be quite friendly, but it took a while.
Richard Burton famously said that you were the only leading lady he'd never slept with.
Well, I said, apparently Time magazine reported that, and I said, well, don't tell anybody that. I said, my reputation will forever be squeaky clean from now on. In fact, I didn't succumb, although he was adorable and very, very dashing, and if I hadn't been married, it might have been very tempting.
So you were tempted then?
Oh, gosh, yes, he was lovely. Well, no, I mean, I didn't succumb, but I could well see why everybody did.
I think you've said that later in life, when you were no longer singing, you were using your voice in a different way by speaking.
Well, that's because, when my throat operation harmed my singing voice, and I don't sing anymore, and I won't be singing on the tour, but I began to think that I couldn't just sit around and do nothing, and I had begun writing in the 70s, and then kind of life got in the way, and I had my children to raise and things to do, to work on. And then I came back to it, and my daughter and I began a small publishing company. And I was bemoaning my fate to her one day, and she said to me, "Mum, you do realize, don't you, that you've just found a different way of using your voice?" And it made all the difference. I was able to put the whole, put everything that hurt to bed and embrace this kind of second career in my life.
Is it strange, though, being on stage and not singing?
Yes, very painful, because I do love it so, but I do fill my life with music.
It's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. If you say it loud enough, you'll always sound precocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Next year is the 50th anniversary of Mary Poppins, the film. Have you seen the film Saving Mr. Banks with Tom Hanks and Emma Thompson?
Yes, I have.
Because, of course, that is the story behind the making of Mary Poppins and the very difficult P.L. Travers.
It's the story of, really, it helps you understand P.L. Travers, who was the author of the original Mary Poppins books. And it's very interesting. I learned a great deal from seeing the movie. I had no idea that her background was as difficult for a young girl as it was.
And did you ever meet P.L. Travers during the making?
Oh, indeed I did. We corresponded a little bit as I was making the movie. She was very nice to me, but she was a tough old biddy, I can tell you.
Well, there were lots of aspects of the film that she didn't approve of.
No, I think she didn't particularly approve of the saccharine aspect of the movie. Not that we thought it was saccharine at all, but to her it was. And I think she was not happy that we didn't follow faithfully the way she conceived the books.
She also didn't like the animated parts of the film.
I know. I'm not sure that maybe she didn't come around to that eventually, but whatever it was, I hope she, cried all the way to the bank, as they say.
I'm sure she did. Now, I'm also speaking to Colin Firth, and he's always spoken about never being able to escape from Mr. Darcy, which he famously played. But I wondered, thinking about how he can never escape from Mr. Darcy, whether you ever feel that you can never escape from Mary Poppins.
Well, I don't feel that. I don't feel trapped by it. I just feel hugely grateful that Disney afforded me that opportunity to do the movie. Truthfully, I just tried it throughout my career to try as many new and interesting things as I possibly could. It's just that that film and The Sound of Music happened to be so hugely successful that they're best remembered. So the other things that I've done that maybe were different are not as well remembered.
Julie Andrews, and she'll be visiting Birmingham, Liverpool and London in May next year as part of a world tour. And Saving Mr. Banks is in cinemas now, certificate PG.